Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about why the Camaro is not on the channel ever. And the reason why is because it's broke. Well, at least it was. So first though, let me tell you about this headlamp I've been using from ODELFI. If you're anything like me, I'm always working until the sun goes down and I just never have the proper lighting to complete a lot of my chores around the house. And this is where the headlamp comes in use, and I just haven't had a great headlamp up until this point when this company reached out to me. So they're called, again, they're ODELFI, and it is an LED headlamp that has a ton of different features. It's very bright. It's 350 lumens on the highest setting. You can see very well when you're looking at cars, working on cars, and it's all hands-free. Now this is in my garage, lights all turned off at nighttime. This is what it looks like now. Completely the headlamp only. It's actually pretty crazy. You can see just how bright everything is. You can change it, different settings. That's the lower setting. This is the pinpoint setting, and the pinpoint in the lower. Very comfy, stretchable, easy to adjust. Kind of forget that it's on your head actually. This is the only really kind of bulky-ish part, but kind of tucks up behind your ear. Forget about it. It's really lightweight. Here's the first setting, brightest, one down, pinpoint light, one down from that, and then off. And there's also a setting to hands-free, on and off. You can turn that setting off too, and then keep it back on. Now this thing is flexible, waterproof, only charges in 2.5 hours, can last up to 8 hours on a single charge, is USB-C compatible when you're charging the device, and can be seen up to 150 feet away. It has 230 degrees of visibility on the one setting, and so far the only really fault that I found with this, just to be honest in this little review, is it does get a little bit warm on your head, but nothing unbearable. And in the winter actually it would serve as a little head heater. So I really like this product. Go pick yours up today. I definitely recommend it. I don't recommend, review these products unless I personally use them. So link is in the description below, and enjoy the video. So the car's been over at my parents' house for the last 4 months now. Just been tired of looking at it. Like, it makes me sick because you spend all this time and money into a car, get it professionally built. Usually I do the engine stuff, but this was a little bit out of my wheelhouse. With a 383, I want to do everything perfect, and end up not having stuff that is really should be perfect, but it's not. So I took it into my own hands. Open this hood here. Okay. So, where to begin here? Well, the car was burning an excessive amount of oil. You could see out the exhaust and everything, it just throws blue smoke. And I thought it was the rings, then I thought it was the intake, and then I thought there was other issues. Well, I'll tell you what exactly was the issue, and I think I have it finally figured out right now. So I have an air gap manifold on here now, and that seems to solve the issue. The main issue, what I thought was the main issue at first, was the coolant was leaking around here. It all started with coolant leak, and that was from the dyno. We broke it in on the dyno. It had a little bit of a leak here, and then I resealed it a total of 4 times, and still it doesn't seal. The stupid thing would not seal onto the block. It leaked coolant, then it was starting to leak oil inside, underneath, into the runners and everything, and that I thought that was a huge issue of oil burning. So I got a new intake, proved that the old one was warped from the factory. A brand new Edelbrock intake, which is absolutely ridiculous, was warped. So I got that one straightened out, machine shop, $150 later. So I have $450 into a stupid intake, and I didn't want to just toss it out because I already have $300 into it. So I bought a new intake. The old one was $300 plus $150 to straighten out. The machine shop said it was absolutely terrible. Was not usable at all. I'm surprised I was even able to even run the car like that. Had a huge vacuum leak, which is why the car wasn't keeping the tune every time I turned it off, because I was tuning for a vacuum leak on top of the oil and the coolant leak.
So I had to get that straightened out. In the meantime, it took 2 months to straighten that out. I got a new one, slapped it on there, seemed to be okay. Still burning oil right now, and is about ready to sell the car because I was so sick of this car burning oil. And then just thinking about it every single day, what was going on with it, I decided to look up the manufactured or the AFR heads was the next thing that I was looking into. And I looked anywhere from the oil was splashing up in here too much to apparently the AFR heads back in the day did not have an oil return that was dug out deep enough, and that was probably causing an issue too. So I proved that that was not the case, because the newer ones, starting I think around 2010 and up, all they resolved that issue for AFR. I ended up looking into the directions for AFR heads, and apparently the rocker studs needed sealed, and I changed the rocker studs to the thicker, I think it was 7/16 maybe, rocker studs, because again I wanted to make sure this car was solid when I was doing the build on it. And there was no sealant on the factory rocker studs when they came pre-assembled, so I figured I will not put any sealant on the new ones, so it would have burned oil either way. So I put new sealant on that, took off the adjusted all the valves after that, and that leads us to where we are today. So then I started the car up, and then it developed a huge misfire, and I changed the plugs multiple times. Ended up finding that one of the plugs was messed up, even though they were brand new. So I had to get a new set of plugs. So all these issues were from bad parts. The intake manifold was a huge one, spark plugs, and I checked all the wires and everything; those were fine. And then the AFR heads, they were not sealed from the factory, even though I should have read the directions. And the directions, it did say that it will leak into the intake, right on top of the intake valves. So I fixed that and got rid of the misfire finally. And then now it's just kind of sitting. So started it up, started to drive it, and then it was still burning a little bit of oil, but talked to the machine shop, and apparently you have to run this pretty hard because the rings are probably glazed now because of all the oil that I was burning. Now that sucks because I specifically wanted to do the engine dyno to seat the rings, but we have issues with things that were manufactured wrong and also were not really caught before the dyno process. And it took me this long to figure it out because I was just so sick of this car. I was ready to get rid of it. And just kind of being honest, you have all this money, it just makes you sick to your stomach that you're embarrassed to drive this stupid thing because it burns oil. But I think it's finally good now. I just have to go out and get some more miles on it. Ended up getting a new transmission for it as well, the Tremec TKX 5-speed, and have that installed. So I'll show you guys a video on that later on. But I was installing that when the oil was actually still burning, and it made me want to even sell the car even more because I have more money in the transmission. So just a whirlwind of events of why I do not even want to look at this car up until this point. But I think everything is good. I'm starting to get the car ready right now to go to car shows, maybe before this year is up. And I'm putting on, found these exhaust tips at the swap meet. So I have to do a little bit of clearancing more on that, but have those all welded up and tucked up in there nicely. So I think it looks a lot better. And I think they're like 3.5 or 4 inch tips. Got them for $20. They're Magnaflow brand, so it matches the full exhaust that I have in here. Interior just needs cleaned, looks identical. I put in an AFR gauge because I was tuning the car and questioning if I was hearing things right, because again, like I said, it wasn't holding the tune for the carburetor because I had a massive vacuum leak. So at least I have a AFR gauge now, and then I could tuck that away and hide it for car shows and stuff if I wanted to look all original. Just tuck it behind there. Everything else is the same as you saw last time, and I'll probably put I don't know if I filmed that AFR gauge, but it was super easy to install. I did it during the time of the transmission because my friend John has a lift that he let me use during the transmission install, and I put in the bung, which you can probably see down there, during the time of the install of the transmission before I fixed the oil burning issue. So yeah, I didn't really want to make any videos because I was sick of the car, doing car stuff, to be honest, because this car put me in a bad mood is the long story short to everything here. So that's why I wasn't really posting. I just want to get this issue resolved before I posted other stuff. But now I think I'm in a better mindset to go ahead and start working on all my projects, which there is plenty around here to do. Which, speaking of one, I wanted to show you guys my dad's new frame that he was working on. We got this all painted up over here. It is in the gray. Yeah, I guess we can pull it out then. Probably easier, yeah, to show them. Causing all this weight more than.
Well, yeah. That's the front.
Watch your left. You know what this color is called?
The Toyota gray.
Toyota gray, probably off of the Tacoma or something.
Yeah, it's off the new Toyota.
Yeah. So we used single stage on this because it was supposed to be more durable. This is my first time spraying single stage. Didn't really like how it came out glossy, but I like the base coat clear coat a little bit more, and how you don't need to really pile on the clear coat. I think my pressure was down a little bit too low, because at the end it was getting a little bit better when I was spraying it. This is going to be more the visible area right here, so as long as that's shiny. He put everything all together right now. All the control arms are painted, sway bar and everything, and then these are the motor mounts for the inline 6. Got new hardware for that. Put the brake setup all on here with the pedals all sitting here. You have to bench bleed that before we put the cab back on. He has all the lines made and ran, and stainless steel lines in the front, welded in these tabs before we painted it. He still has to do a couple little things with grommets and stuff over here, which I brought you those grommets over there. Did you see them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the rear end is all in here now. So we went with the 4-link. We didn't film any of this, I don't think, but he ended up putting all the 4-link in, and then it was more of a bolt-in versus the front was all weld-in. So all new hardware. Ended up upgrading to the Ride Tex for the rear suspension too, just to match the front, so we can have that adjustability in the rear. We were gonna do a leaf spring setup at first, but that was like $800. I think, like I mentioned in the previous video, and that lowered at 4 inches, and you don't have any adjustability at all on that other one. So this, at least you can adjust the rebound rate and the height, front and back of everything. You couldn't find a rear disc conversion with this, with the stock rear end, so we're gonna leave it as is right now. So what else do we have to do to this frame here then before we put it on? Brakes, rear end brakes to connect the rear differential all together. And then we could start working on, are we gonna work on the cab separately from this?
Yeah, I'm gonna work on the cab separately. Yeah.
It'll scratch the heck out of it. We have to make sure we have the right amount of body mount shims and stuff too on it. This is pretty much done then, right?
Yeah.
So I'll probably end up just, there's a car show every Monday that I want to go to that's pretty big. And I think we're at, I work Saturday anyway, so that's shot. But I think I'm off Monday. But trying to go to this car show on Mondays if they have it for the last, I don't know, 2-3 months. And just need a really good detail on this car and to drive it more, and I still need to break in the engine and the transmission a little bit more, along with trying to reseat these rings apparently. But I didn't notice, any excessive smoke anymore. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this week. I really appreciate everyone that stuck with me this far and kind of, keep watching my videos. There's a couple thousand of you guys out there that are pretty consistent in watching, and I really do appreciate that. There's gonna be a lot more projects now finally that I got this Camaro done. Like I said, that's where I've been at, just kind of not in the right mood to do other projects until I fix the Camaro. Now it is fixed. I've been driving it around, so I'll get some more footage of that and everything, but I think we're good to go on that. No more oil burning issues, and I'm just gonna enjoy the car now and step into different projects. And I have 2 new cars that I'm gonna be introducing to the channel as well. So stay tuned for that. One, just to give you a hint, is a older car again, 70s muscle car, and the other one is a more Japanese car. So kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, but figured I'd mix it up a little bit and show you guys what I can actually do in terms of paintwork and mechanical sort of stuff. So I'll mix it up, be a little bit more interesting. And again, I really appreciate it. Thank you for staying with me, and subscribe if you haven't, like the video, and share if you don't mind. But until the next time, guys, I will see you later.